millions were dead. A continent lay in ruins. Cities smoldered where they once stood. Rail lines twisted into scrap, and entire populations wandered through the wreckage of a shattered world. When the guns finally fell silent in 1945, World War II appeared to be over. Adolf Hitler was dead. The Third Reich had collapsed. Yet the end of the fighting did not mark the end of discovery. Long after surrender documents were signed and victory parades faded, the ground itself began to give up its secrets. Beneath forests, mountains, cities, and oceans, investigators uncovered remnants of a regime that had planned not only to conquer Europe, but to hide its crimes, its wealth, and its failures. Some discoveries were expected, others were unsettling. A few remain unresolved to this day. Together, they reveal a darker afterlife of the war, one that continued long after the battlefield was abandoned. As Allied and Soviet forces advanced into Germany and occupied territories, they encountered not just defeated armies, but a landscape deliberately altered to conceal evidence. Orders had been issued to destroy documents, relocate valuables, and abandon facilities before capture. Entire industries had been pushed underground to escape Allied bombing. Art stolen from across Europe was hidden in mines and bunkers. Currency and gold were moved hastily, sometimes without clear records of their final destinations. This concealment was not improvised at the last moment. It was the result of years of planning shaped by paranoia, secrecy, and ideological obsession. Nazi leadership assumed that even defeat might be temporary. They prepared for survival, exile, or resurrection. When those plans failed, what remained was a scattered trail of physical evidence, half-finished projects, sealed tunnels, and unanswered questions that would surface slowly over decades. The first discoveries were immediate and shocking. Salt mines in Germany and Austria revealed vast collections of looted art, stacked in darkness and protected from bombs by layers of rock. Paintings, sculptures, and cultural artifacts taken from Jewish families, museums, and occupied nations emerged from underground vaults. These were not rumors. They were catalogued, photographed, and recovered under military guard. Elsewhere, the discoveries were less clear. In Poland's Owl Mountains, enormous tunnel systems stretched beneath the rock, unfinished and abruptly abandoned. Rail lines ended in darkness. Concrete halls stood empty. No definitive records explained their intended purpose. Were they factories, command centers, or hiding places? The absence of answers only fueled speculation. At sea, wrecks lay untouched for decades, their cargo preserved by cold and pressure. Merchant ships sank without distress signals. Submarines disappeared with hazardous materials still sealed inside. These underwater sites became time capsules, reminders that the war's consequences extended far beyond land. Behind every hidden chamber and wrecked hull were human beings, prisoners of war and concentration camp inmates forced to dig tunnels under brutal conditions, civilians whose homes were stripped of art, jewelry, and identity, sailors who vanished into the ocean without rescue, archivists decades later who opened files and discovered that suffering had been recorded with meticulous detail. The post-war discoveries were not simply technical or archaeological. They were deeply human. Each recovered object carried a story of coercion, loss, or survival. Each sealed tunnel represented lives spent in darkness. Each shipwreck marked a moment when rescue never came. One of the most enduring legends to emerge from this post-war landscape was the so-called Nazi gold train. According to accounts from the final months of the war, an armored train loaded with gold, jewels, and looted art vanished as German forces retreated before the Red Army. The train was said to have been diverted into a hidden tunnel network in southwestern Poland. Decades later, modern scanning technology reignited interest. Ground-penetrating radar suggested anomalies beneath the earth. Excavations were authorized. Media attention surged. Yet no confirmed train was found. The legend endured not because of evidence, but because it reflected known patterns of Nazi looting and concealment documented elsewhere beyond dispute. A similar ambiguity surrounds the Amber Room. Once a masterpiece of amber panels and gold leaf, it was dismantled by German forces and transported to Königsberg. When the city fell, the room vanished. Some believe it was destroyed. Others suspect it was hidden or lost at sea. Despite extensive searches, only fragments ever surfaced. A reconstructed version stands today, while the fate of the original remains unknown. Technological remnants told a different story. The V2 rocket program left behind launch sites, factories, and test facilities that revealed how close Germany came to reshaping warfare. Underground production sites showed how far the regime had gone to preserve output at any cost, even as forced laborers died in staggering numbers. Experimental reactors, abandoned mid-development, demonstrated ambition without coordination. At sea, wrecks such as merchant ships carrying wartime silver or submarines loaded with hazardous materials exposed how unresolved dangers persisted long after the war. Some wrecks became environmental threats, others became guarded war graves. In archives like Bad Arolsen, millions of documents preserved the administrative memory of suffering. Transport lists, labor records, death notices, and personal effects formed an irrefutable record of systematic persecution. These were not secrets hidden in the ground, but truths hidden in plain sight, waiting to be examined. Nowhere did the war's end feel more confined than beneath Berlin. As Soviet artillery closed in, Nazi leadership retreated into the Führer bunker, a reinforced concrete complex buried beneath the city. Inside, the illusion of control persisted, even as reality collapsed. Orders were issued to non-existent divisions. Maps tracked movements that no longer mattered. When Hitler and members of his inner circle ended their lives, the regime effectively ceased to exist. When Soviet forces entered the area, they found not vast wealth or secret technology, but abandonment, destruction, and decay. The bunker did not symbolize hidden power. It symbolized denial and isolation. In the years and decades that followed, the work of discovery continued. Governments negotiated over restitution. Museums rebuilt what could be reconstructed. Divers surveyed wrecks. Engineers stabilized tunnels. Archivists opened files once sealed by political and diplomatic concerns. Some questions were answered conclusively. Others resisted resolution. Not every tunnel yielded its purpose. Not every legend proved false or true. Yet the cumulative record grew clearer. The Third Reich had invested enormous effort in concealment, but concealment itself became evidence of its mindset. The most chilling discoveries after World War II were not limited to lost trains or vanished treasures. They were the physical proof of how a modern state pursued ideology with industrial precision and how desperately it tried to hide the consequences. What was unearthed did not change the outcome of the war, but it reshaped how the world understood it. The ground still holds unanswered questions. The archives still reveal new details, but the overall picture is no longer in doubt. The legacy of the Third Reich did not end in 1945. It was buried, concealed, and scattered, only to be uncovered piece by piece by those willing to look. And what emerged was not myth, but a warning written into stone, steel, paper, and silence.